Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Pirillo, and I am an expert in being myself. I love giving advice. I'm very opinionated. Sometimes you may agree with me, sometimes you may disagree with me. One size definitely does not fit all, so please just take everything that I'm putting out there with a grain of salt or potentially contextualize it for your own life and your own experiences because we're all absolutely different. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to talk about tonight. Our differences, and because of our differences, we can make a very deep and meaningful impact in this life on other people's lives. And I've had a very long and interesting career. It's not over yet. Maybe it's half over. I don't know. About 25 years, I've been creating content in one medium or another. Started with email newsletters. Moved on to blogs, but I was blogging before blogging was a thing. Then moved on to podcasting. Even before podcasting was a thing, like I tend to be sometimes slightly ahead of the trends, or not really a trend spotter, not really an early adopter. But as an entrepreneur, I tend to see opportunities, and I've always been someone who's willing to share perspectives. That's what got me started way back in the day. So when a new platform springs up, yeah, I look at it and I try to recognize whether or not it fits with what it is that I might want to put out there. Sometimes I pick up on it immediately. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I never pick up on any one platform or another, depending on what it is I feel I could gain from using one platform or another. I've done or I hosted my own radio show, terrestrial radio. I was a host on a television program that hardly anybody ever watched. And not to exclude you if you were one who did. I've written magazine columns in the past. I've done it all. And I'm grateful for having had those opportunities and continuing to have opportunities, unfold. So that brings me to making a difference and being myself, being different from everybody else, as we all are, but trying to make a difference matters to me. And that's one of the things that got me started 2.5 decades ago, sharing information and discoveries, insight, with people who are interested in hearing what I had to share, because I saved them time. And this is 25 years ago, the very early days of the internet, before half of y'all were potentially born or potentially even online. We're talking like 1996. There's the date. And Locker Gnome was that brand. It's a handle that followed me, throughout. In fact, some people know me from my original handle, Locker Gnome, and have followed that. It really no longer exists. I think the brand itself is unfortunately on indefinite ice. It may get reborn or resurrected at some point in the future if I find a viable opportunity to make that happen. I'm not sure how or when or where or with whom. But I thought that Locker Gnome was going to be my legacy. I thought it was the one thing that I would be able to pass on. I built a business from scratch and made an impact, a deep and lasting impact with a lot of people. So I thought that was the thing that I would be able to build to be able to hand to, at that point, I didn't know if I was going to have kids, or certainly when. I figured I'd be able to pass it on. My legacy would be being able to provide that to a child so that it could live on, but then the child would have something that they could pick up and run with. That's something that I didn't have. I had an open field, but also didn't really see myself before I became an entrepreneur as an entrepreneur, because I didn't have that context. So when time shifted, I was doing more and more things. I had more and more projects, built more and more relationships. The world changed. The internet changed. And I continued to make an impact. I continued to share my advice, my perspectives, my opinions. That's the thread that runs throughout. My thoughts, my opinions, my perspectives, being open and willing to share these with people that I may never actually meet in person. But I know I'm making a lasting impact. And so, as much as I thought my business was going to be my legacy, I've recognized in recent weeks, since doubling down on the life advice aspect of what it is that I'm sharing, because I've shared a lot of advice. That's the thread that's run throughout. No matter what I've done, what I've talked about, no matter the subject, it's always been advice. It's always been guidance. It's always been help. It's always been making people's lives better. And that's what I want my legacy to be. And that's what I think my legacy is. Leaving the world in a better place than what it was before I got here. And what I mean by that, I know I can't do everything, right? There's no way I can make an impact that would change billions of people's lives. I'm not talking that kind of impact. What I'm saying is, when I put something out there, a bit of advice, if it changes one person's life, then the time will have been worth it. See, that to me is the value of doing these advice videos, the life advice videos, providing career advice, entrepreneurial advice, relationship advice. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm just sharing my experiences, right? Any kind of advice I give, if it changes one person's life, that's where the value is. That's my legacy. That's what I want people to remember me by or for or as, right? Not as one topic or another, but someone who strived to provide a perspective that helped somebody else. Because that's reasonable. And I'm saying it's reasonable because over all these years, I can't tell you how many times, and I'm always humbled when it happens, someone who's done an amazing job with their career has told me that it was because of something I did. Directly because of something I did. Or certainly I was one of maybe many people who impacted them. And I mean, it's an exhaustive list. Like, the first time that I heard this was actually someone who built and sold an email marketing company for $1 billion. It was because of the book I wrote. I mean, I didn't see a dime of that, but he said it was because of the things that I did that he became a billionaire. It's legit, for real. It's happened over and over and over again. I've had some people who've done very well on YouTube because they see themselves as YouTubers. I don't. I never have. I never will. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a horrible one. I'm a variety streamer, if anything, right? I'm a talker. An advice giver. Yes. YouTuber, absolutely not. Which explains a lot, by the way. But people took inspiration for something that I was doing, and they saw a little bit of themselves in me and were able to build their own voice on top of that. Which, it's amazing. It's amazing to see what people have done from what I put out into the world and having made an impact in their lives. You know, earlier this year, I kind of joke about it because it's his fans just won't stop talking about anything but him, which is great for him. But in January, a person who goes by the handle Chanix Bro out of Sri Lanka passed 1 million subs on YouTube. And so he did like a whole shout out video basically saying Chris Pirillo helped make this happen. Didn't know the guy existed, honestly. But he attributed me having done whatever the hell I did, whatever the hell I said that day, impacted his life that deeply. And so all these people came over, and bless their hearts, they can't say anything apart from Chanix Bro and Sri Lanka. That's it. Those are the only comments I ever see from them. I'm trying to evolve the conversation a little. Hopefully this kind of kicks them forward to say, okay, let's talk about something else. Let's help other people. Let's improve their lives. That's what I'm trying to do with these advice videos. And it was really nice. It was a wonderful shout out. There have been people, Dez from T-Mobile, called me up, like, out of the blue. He's like, I was just listening to a podcast, and they were interviewing Marquez Brownlee. That's not what Des sounds like. They were interviewing Marquez Brownlee. I'm like, yeah, I know. I probably still have the email that he sent me back when he's still a kid. When I was asking people, I'm like, hey, do you want to upload videos to the Locker Room YouTube channel? This YouTube channel, because I'm like, a lot of people are paying attention. I can't do everything. I would love to build a team. Let's see what, hey, why not? Why not help other people grow? Why not, add more videos and value to the channel? Let's impact lives, right? It worked. But anyway, apparently, according to Des, in this podcast, which I have not heard, creator people were interviewing Marquez and asked about his inspiration, and apparently his name, or my name, came shooting out of his mouth. This is something he said in public before as well. That's nothing new, but just to know that I've made that kind of impact on the world, it's a lot. But I'm not looking to inspire everybody, and certainly I'm not expecting everybody I inspire to achieve an immense amount of what would you call it, notoriety, just an impact. Like if I talk about career and say something that flips a switch in someone's head, and suddenly they make a change and their life becomes better because of it, because of something I said, that's it. That's all I need. That's all I want. That's my legacy. That's why I do what I do. That's why I continue to do what I do. It doesn't matter if 100 people see it. It doesn't matter if 1,000 people see it. It doesn't matter if 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 people see what it is I might say on any given day. It doesn't matter. View count doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that something that I say makes an impact. And you know what? It just takes one person. That's the only view that matters. One view. That's what matters. So I know the creators out there kind of chase the big numbers, and I know marketers are all about the big numbers, but that ain't it, man. That's not the legacy. That ain't it. The legacy is who those numbers are. Those individuals, and just one person out of 1,000,000 is all it takes for me to have made an impact. That's it. That's the goal. In every advice video I share, this goes all the way back. In every advice video or response that I've shared, it's to make an impact. It's to change lives for the better. Or do my best. And I'm not saying I stick the landing every time. But you know what? I don't stop talking. It doesn't matter how many people are watching. It doesn't. What matters is that people are listening. Just one person listening and being open to it. So I ask you, what's your legacy? What do you want to be known for? How do you want to be remembered? Are you impacting people's lives? Do you want to? I'm not even saying you have to do... Don't do the same thing as me. I'm just asking you, what do you want your legacy to be? Think about it. You ain't going to be around forever, which leads me to a motivation. I want to change lives, but I'm going to take it one step further, okay? I now have a daughter. And I've certainly imparted advice, to her in certain situations. Teaching her, I'm like, hey, if you want something bad enough, you need to earn it. You're not going to be able to figure this out immediately. Sometimes it's going to take time. Not everything is instantaneous. We can work through this. When you run into a problem, you have the ability to solve it. Just nuggets of advice, constantly. This is what dads do. I assume moms as well, although we usually take a different approach. I can tell you, Diana and I definitely take a different approach. But I want to give her advice because that's what I have to give. I have time to give, and I have that perspective to give, and I have that experience to give, right? And I know as she grows, I guarantee. Here's my prediction. I'm not 100% on my predictions, though. For the most part, I'm usually pretty spot on. I believe Jedi will be a content creator. I don't know if it's going to be edited video. I don't know what kind of video. I don't know if she's going to be a live streamer. But as much as I thought Locker Room, that business was going to be my legacy for a child, I think it's her modeling how I do what I do and fitting her own interests and passions and making that her own. Because I can tell you, she's no stranger to the camera. She's got my facial expression range. She's done her own little private vlogs before, so she sees it. She's going to mirror it. So now I have the opportunity to teach her. You know, she has an opportunity to basically be an apprentice or learn by example. Here's why you do what you do. Take a look at this. Make sure you pay attention to this. Don't do that. And here's why. Careful when this happens. And this is, so I have an opportunity to take all of my experience and give that to her, right? As she grows up and into that. Or certainly encourage it. Because I'm like, look, this is viable. I can help you do this. You've got to do the work. I'm not going to do the work for you. I'm here to help. I'm here to support. I will do everything I can to make sure you can be successful in driving your own goals and finding your path to success. I'm careful about saying happiness because I think I'll talk about this. I think in a later video. I think happiness is people expect it to be this thing that you achieve, but here's the thing: I don't think anybody should ever achieve that and feel that they've reached the goal, because once they've reached it, then what's left? My feeling is you should always be finding happiness everywhere. Don't just try to reach happiness, find happiness. And that's from within. You find happiness here. Happiness isn't out here. Happiness is in here. And that's something you take with you everywhere you go. Sorry about the sidebar. So as I'm doing these advice videos, and tonight talking about the legacy I want to leave, the legacy I feel I'm building and impacting lives, and providing this advice to change lives. That's the legacy I want. Challenging you to think about the legacy that you want. However you live your life, what's your legacy? What are you doing, if anything? If you want to have, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be remembered? That's the question. So, I won't be around forever. It's a sad and unfortunate truth. Life is finite. I don't know when I'm leaving. I don't know when I'll be gone. I know some people, you know, they pop into a YouTube channel, you know, 15 years after they left it and say, wow, I can't believe you're still alive. I'm not dead yet, okay? Don't eulogize me. Yet. But I realized it is entirely possible that I could go before Jedis come of age. It is entirely possible I won't be here. It's entirely possible that I may leave before I have a chance to get to know her as an adult. There's a great, I mean, you don't know, right? I'm stacking the deck in my favor, right? I've talked about health and I've talked about watching this. I'm very careful about a lot of things, playing, you know. So by doing these videos, I'm potentially impacting your life, but I'm also leaving a legacy, a different kind of legacy for her. So she, if I'm not there, will be able to go back and watch these videos. She'll be able to listen. What would Dad say about this? Did he do a video? Did he say something about it? What did Dad say? What would Dad say to this question? So by providing that perspective now and recording it and documenting, it lives forever. So she could listen to it. Her kids could listen to it if I'm not around, right? I'm creating that legacy for her because I want to ensure her success and her better understanding herself. And that's what I have to give her. So I'm recording this as much for you as I am for her. So it's kind of like two birds, one stone. Because in many ways, she is also my legacy. I'm pouring myself into her and to try to bring her out, right? To help her better discover herself, to provide that guidance. So this guidance is as much for you as it would be for her, or is for her, or potentially my grandkids. Maybe they agree, maybe they disagree. Maybe the advice helps, maybe it doesn't, but at least I did it. At least I put forth the effort because it matters to me. It matters to me that she knows how I thought. It matters to me that she knows why I was motivated to do the things that I did. It matters to me that she knows that. It matters to me that she knew what her father did and what her father believed. So I ask you, once again, How do you want to be remembered? What's your legacy? What are you doing to ensure your legacy, whatever it happens to be? And I wish you absolutely the best. I hope you took at least one thing from this video, if only to know my motivations, if only to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and if only to recognize that I just need one of you to listen.